Well, hello, friends, and welcome to a fourth session with my dear friend and compatriot, Alistair Hawkes. As I've shared previously, she and I have had the benefit of working with this remarkable woman, Dr. Lianna Matulich. And not only has Liana's work benefited Alistair, but Alistair has had her own therapy practice going for quite some time. And she sent out a message to her constituents, which I got, that touched me extremely deeply. And I've asked her if she would share aspects of what's in that message and the situation that she's facing in her own life, and how the work she does and the work she did with Dr. Matulich and that she's been sharing with you, how all of that, okay, is coming together and she's applying it to herself and what a difference it's making. So I've asked her to share more about her practice and the Dr. Matulich work that she calls Hike for Evolution. Um, Share it with you in this session, so that you get to know more firsthand, face to face, tangibly about the benefits of the work and how the work works, etc.
Yeah.
So, Alistair, thank you for joining me again.
Yes.
You're a real gift to Spirit Partners, and yeah, your message, um, and the way you're thriving. Okay, the way you're thriving in the face of some huge challenges is admirable, absolutely admirable. So share with us, and I'll just sit back and enjoy.
Oh, Bill, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for that warm welcome and caught me off guard to have this opportunity to talk about my latest blog or newsletter or whatever you want to call it. And I'm so happy to do that. This work is such a privilege and it's had so much benefit in my own life, but also in my career life, in my personal private practice. I've just seen what the work can do, and I've experienced what the work can do. So we're going to talk about the Lianna Matulich work, which is called Hike for Evolution, Human Inner Keys for Evolution. And inner keys are those things that we discover within ourselves as we are doing this work. And they are literally switches that we can flip within ourselves to create these calm states of mind or these tension-free moments or emotional equilibrium. And so I just want to explain that a little bit, like what are we doing when we're talking about inner keys? And I want to say that the Lianna work is handed to us, given to us in retreat settings and classes and just papers and emails and all of those things where we have opportunities to consume this material and to use it and to practice it and to make it our own. And so the Lianna work becomes your work. It becomes my work. It becomes the work. And so we like to really highlight Lianna because without her, we wouldn't have it. But it really does become your own work. And so I want to say that much. The email that I sent out recently is an invitation to a masterclass on going beyond basic stress management. I'm a therapist. I have a private practice here in Colorado, and I've used this Hike for Evolution material in my office and in classroom settings with elementary school children. I've worked with people across the lifespan with this material. Of course, I use different language when I'm talking to a group of kindergartners than when I'm talking with a group of adults, but it really is work that was developed for people to become all that they can possibly be, to really create enough awareness and enough consciousness within yourself that you can find peace and calm. One of the goals is peace. And as we all cultivate peace within ourselves, we create more opportunity and possibility for world peace. So I'm just going to plug world peace right now. Um, so in my latest email, I talked about a personal situation that's unfolding in my family. Right now, I have three siblings. They're all wonderful. I appreciate them all very much. I have an incredible mother who started a nonprofit many years ago, 1989, with Elmer Green from the Biofeedback Society and T.M. Srinivasan from the Fetzer Institute at that time, and Carol Schneider, who was a biofeedback person, and some others who helped with the journal. But they started a nonprofit called the International Society for the Study of Subtle Energies and Energy Medicine, which is where I actually met Dr. Matulich in 1992. Well, my mom has always been a bright light and a really incredible, clear, laser focused minded person, and she had a stroke in December, and since December she's been like a 6-year old mentally, which has been
Oh,
devastating to all of us and to her. I like to just remember that she's really the one going through this, and we're all helping her. And I've reflected numerous times. I mean, I'm having feelings as I'm sitting here talking about it. I've reflected numerous times about how much this Lianna work that has become my work has really enhanced my capacity for stress management in this situation. Literally, I am now caring for my mother about 42 hours a week, which is not something I was doing in November. And my siblings are also caring for our mother about 42 hours a week. She's home from rehab now, and we're really happy about that. But it doesn't make it easier because she still doesn't walk. So, anyway, I do my daily practice every day. I do axis, I do cats, I do three legs, I do clocks, I do balloons, I do sweeping, I do the nutcracker, I do all of the things. And those are the things that are helping me still stay well. And I'm pleasantly surprised and grateful to the bottom of my heart, really, that this work was literally given to me. And I had no idea how I would use it so relentlessly to maintain optimal function during one of the most intense periods of my life. And so anyway, anybody who's watching this video, if you want to just send a little bit of good energy to my mom, Penny Hirnu, I'm sure she would appreciate it. In my professional work as a therapist with clients, I have worked with thousands of people, students in the classroom, people here in my office, in online classes. We have a classroom called School. It's called the Transformative Learning Institute, where you can take all of these classes one by one on your own self-study. We can also work in groups with you doing live sessions, or you can apply to do the neurofeedback and biofeedback training either here in my office in Colorado, or if it is appropriate, you could buy your own equipment and we could mentor you online. So just a little plug about how you can use this material too, if that's what you choose that you would like to do, that you want to learn these things and you want to apply them in your own life.
well, let's, if I may, let's clarify a couple of things right there,
Yeah.
okay? That there's a website called Hike, Hike, all capital letters, number 4, evolution, the word, that will lead you to you and to
Yes.
your brother Dallas, okay,
Yes.
for doing XYZ. Is there
Correct.
then a separate website for doing the Learning Institute you're talking about? I mean,
Yes.
is that a separate part of it? Or is
Yes.
that sort of, no, is Hike the umbrella over this other one?
Yes, Hike is the umbrella. Hike is the curriculum. Hike is the system that we use. And I have created a school classroom called the Transformative Learning Institute that is focused on the Hike material. So
Okay.
two different websites, alistairmhawkes.com or hikeforevolution.com, where you can read all of the information about how it's an educational program. It was developed really as a wellness optimal function system, but I have been vetting it with people with concerns with emotional dysregulation, mental dysregulation, and some physical tension. So we know that it's been developed as a wellness model, but it also works very well in the mental health world. And for example, I have helped hundreds of people resolve anxiety using some of these simple practices. Just having awareness of your body in space and time, having awareness of your breath, and then building with those two tiny little practices with all of these other practices that I mentioned that I'm using on a daily basis, clocks, balloons, sweeping, all of those things. And these kinds of tools, when I work with people on a daily basis, if they apply them, if you apply these tiny skills to your everyday life for a few minutes a day, I'm not even saying go sit down and meditate for 30 minutes. I'm saying go outside or sit in your living room, for that matter, and practice for 3 to 7 minutes a day. You too will develop a container to hold more energy, to be able to let go of the energy that you don't want to be holding on to, and to be able to transform and transmute energy within your own system. It's really incredible.
Well, the word stress speaks for itself as something you want to get rid of,
Yeah.
right? Um, because it has, I mean, I'm discussing with other of our spirit partners the way stress works and the people who've been working and done research directly on ways of relieving it and how it affects the whole physiological system's ability to self-regulate and self-generate, etc. And it's an incredibly naughty thing. And what impressed me so much in the letter that you sent to your colleagues was inviting them to a stress release experience that you were going to apply to yourself because
Yeah.
of all the pressures you were feeling with this experience you've now shared about
Yeah.
your mom and needing to attend to her in ways that were in no way on your agenda 2 months ago.
No. Yeah, it's been really incredible. And so now I've refocused. I was really, the last few years since COVID, I was really focused on helping therapists and other caregivers overcome burnout. And I'm really back to the mainstream population. Everybody on this planet is experiencing stress. Maybe it's geopolitical stress. Just think about the kinds of stress that you're experiencing in your own life. And my goal is to help as many people as possible feel less challenged by that stress. Stress is just something that happens. We know that. We know there's good stress and we know that there's distress. And when we're in distress, we don't necessarily handle things as well as we would when we have less stress or when we have the good kind of stress. So, really applying these principles on a daily basis so that you're managing stress on a moment to moment basis. Do not wait for it to build up. Do not
Aha,
wait for
yes.
it to turn into an anxiety disorder or a depressive disorder. Deal with it now.
Preventative health
Yes. Yes.
rather than getting fixed.
That's right. That's absolutely right. A lot of people, I mean, I do this too. We wait. We, and we've talked about this in previous videos. When we feel tired, a lot of times people go get some sort of energy drink or coffee when the body is saying rest. So learning how to listen and then apply the skills so that you can feel better versus at conflict with yourself
Yep.
about stress.
I'm one of those people who when I'm tired and exhausted, it's time to go out and either go for a run or go for a walk rather than do the
Yeah,
resting. And my
that's right.
daughter is continuously saying, "Come on, Dad, you got
Yeah,
to do some of the resting also." But as a former athlete, et cetera, you're used to just you know going because your body loves the movement. And
yeah,
I know Liana was a big believer in movements that really work and that
yeah.
really assist you, and which is what a lot of these exercises are.
It's so
Okay,
true.
they're about opening up physical movement pathways. I mean, letting the brain learn those that turn out to just give you much greater flexibility mentally, but they're really of physiological benefit. I mean, all at
Yes.
the same time.
Yes, that's true. And the physiology is really key to the change because we can be thinking about these things. We can apply this information. We can read the papers. We can read the website. We can, do all of those things mentally. But until we actually get the body involved, we're not working at any of those subconscious levels. We're really just working at the consciousness level. And we want to bring the work down into the body. The body operates on the subconscious level. The autonomic nervous system is subconscious. We've got those we
That's
talked
right.
about in one of those first videos, the 7 levels of mind. And as we apply somatic practice, we contact the automatic somatic pilot and we enable it to create new pathways that are more optimal than the ones that we kind of just established through conditioning or through habits or through lived experience. And so when you're really thinking about becoming a more conscious being, we have to keep the body engaged. Otherwise, it's just an intellectual exercise. So that's huge.
Well, it is, and I want to throw a curveball at you, if I may, right now, based on something you just said, because I think for our listeners, this really needs some explanation and is the heart of your work. Okay, you said automatic pilot. Now, it's real easy to understand automatic pilot as just what Bruce Lipton says is that 95% of our life, all we're doing is stuff that's habitual,
Yeah.
okay? That we don't even have to think about it. Now, you're talking about, I know, because I've been there, but a different kind of automatic pilot, okay? Not just habitual behavior or habitual thinking or habitual reactions to things, okay?
Yeah.
Because that habit stuff can surely be a not very positive automatic pilot, okay?
Absolutely.
So tell us more, just a little more about what the meaning is then within the hike for evolution work of this thing called automatic pilot and what Dr. Matulich was trying to get to manifest within us,
Yeah.
okay, in an automatic way that was very beneficial rather than simply another bad habit.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So the automatic somatic pilot is the way that the body has learned how to complete certain tasks. And we can think about driving a car. You learn how to drive a car, you read the manual, you practice driving the car, and then you get your driver's license, and driving the car becomes automatic. And so, when we're talking about somatic practice, when we're talking about the application of these practices and exercises and principles to stress management, stress reduction, emotional regulation, resolving things like burnout or depression, or all of those things that we're trying to get better from, then we want to go into the somatic, automatic, somatic pilot and make some changes. And the way that we do that is through these very simple, repetitive practices. We read about them, We learn them, we do them over and over. And this is the 3 to 7 minutes a day where you apply your practices and your exercises and your visualizations and your mindfulness and the metaphors and the stories and all of those things that are part of the system. And you apply them repetitively so that you can participate in changing the habits in the automatic somatic pilot. And I'm not talking about two different automatic somatic pilots. I'm talking about the same one.
All
And
right.
most of us don't realize that we can change the automaticity of the things that go on inside of us on a daily basis, mostly because our culture doesn't really teach that we have this empowerment within us. Spirit partners, most of the people who, in these videos, many of the people who are watching know that we have this inner power, that we have this possibility to use intention and attention to affect things differently. And the way that the hike system says to do it is think about these things, move your body in this way, and over time, within 6 to 9 weeks, if you are doing your practices for 3 to 7 minutes a day, within 6 to 9 weeks, you will begin to recognize that you have more flexibility emotionally, that you have more clarity in your mind, that you have less stress and tension in your body. 6 to 9 weeks, that's really all it takes. It's very accessible. And most of the time, people dismiss it because it's so simple. But if you apply yourself, that's where real change happens. We've said this before, real change comes through the application of your willpower, which is developed through the discipline of daily practice.
Well, willpower sounds like a word like intention, where there's laser focus, sorry, you know, on what it is you ultimately want to do. And it's that ability to concentrate at an even deeper level, okay, that is awakened in this work. I mean, focus gets sharper and clearer and more penetrating uh, the farther you go with this work. I mean,
It's so true.
it's like clarity in all dimensions. Okay, just expands and expands and expands.
It's so true. And what you're talking about is that focus, that laser focus, is the development of that skill of applied focus and concentration, which is a biofeedback term. We apply our will to focus our attention. It wants to be out there, but we bring it back here. And it wants to go, and we want to bring it back. And the more you bring it back, the easier it is to bring it back to this present moment. And then you're living in this present moment more and more and more. And the distractions happen less and less and less. They still happen. I still get distracted. I still get on trains of thought. But my capacity to bring my attention back to this present moment is, it
Yes,
didn't used to be that way. It didn't
I
used
have.
to be that way.
Yeah, in my interviews with the other spirit partners, I mean, almost all of us have one way or another talked about, I'm going to call it the universal distraction. Okay, big term there. The universal distraction that living on this planet is, especially now with all the stuff that's happening that isn't a part of, quote, normal, easy, regulated living, okay, that we're accustomed to. I
Yeah,
mean, not it is people throw the word chaos at it.
yeah,
It's really irregularities, okay? It's broken patterns, okay? And maybe random broken patterns that we're being asked to cope with,
yeah,
okay? And it can seem absolutely overwhelming just in its own right. And having these focusing skills, having these skills that give you the clarity, etc.,
yeah,
of what's really there, the being in presence,
yeah.
okay, when presence can be absolutely calm and crystal clear, what a gift.
Yeah. What a gift. And it's
Wow.
not easily won. It's not easily won. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah. Well, the point of doing this work is to develop the capacity that it is more easily won.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes. So I encourage people to use their skills, whatever the practices are that you are using to get yourself to a place of laser focus, of calm, clarity, of flexibility, of openness, of understanding, of acceptance. Use the tools, use them every day, use them as often as you possibly can, and pull your attention away from those things that feel yucky for you. Don't stick your head in the sand by any means, but don't focus on the things that make you feel yucky. Don't do that. Don't watch news 12 hours a day. Don't do those things. Be aware of them, but do other life affirming things and use your practices so that you can be more and more and more well instead of getting caught up in the chaos, getting tossed around by the wave versus surfing the wave.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you mind giving us some examples of clients you've had or people you've worked with,
Yes.
how these tools have benefited them?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with so many people. There are people that I talk about in the masterclass that I offer weekly at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's a free class where we talk about the principles of hike for evolution and we practice some of the practices, giving people an opportunity to develop that daily practice in a community with others. And one of my clients, longtime client named Victor, came to me with severe depression. And this is a person that literally was a puddle on my couch, having a hard time at their corporate job, um, taking medication for this, and really just feeling pretty awful. And as I started to teach this person how to ground, how to center, how to think outside the box of what health and wellness might look like, I pointed him to some Andrew Weil stuff. I pointed him to some other alternative ways of knowing, maybe some alternative practitioners that might have things like acupuncture or qigong or tai chi, all movement practices or energy practices. And then as this person started to use the tools, grounding, centering, conscious movement, meditation, mindfulness, shielding, nurturing, all of those things, slowly this person starts climbing up this hill out of this deep, dark hole of severe depression. And now they are mostly resolved. We've talked about how depression and other mental illnesses can often be a defense mechanism, and they're part of this habitual way of living in the world. And so, sometimes they dip back down in there, but they have the tools to pull themselves back up without having to live there, without having to reside in that deep, dark hole. So that's how this material has helped somebody resolve depression. Like I said, I've worked with hundreds of people with anxiety. That's for some reason, that's why people send people to me. I've had anxiety my whole life, so that's probably why. It's a magnetic
Oh,
kind of attraction thing, law of attraction. And usually within one session when we're talking about grounding and centering and breathing and people start doing the practices and they're being really they're noticing how the simplicity of it makes it easy to do, makes it easy to want to do it. It's not so difficult. It doesn't take so much time that you don't want to sit down and do it.
mm,
So within a very short period of time, usually within 6 to 9 weeks, people can feel some relief from anxiety, bringing that needle down a little bit so that they're able to have more higher functioning throughout their day. I've had somebody come to me that was experiencing adrenal fatigue, having a hard time sleeping, but not feeling rested when they were sleeping, just feeling overall burned out, exhausted. And after doing hike practices in one of the classes, reported feeling better and feeling more energy and feeling more at ease. And that was after one class. And so
Mm.
after she took the 12 sessions and continued to use the material, she no longer reports that adrenal function issue. So that's wonderful. I've worked with housewives, educators, nurses, counselors, therapists who are dealing with burnout and overwhelm. A lot of results and relief for overwhelm and burnout and some of this just chronic overwork. We overwork ourselves in this culture. I read a quote from, I want to say, well, one of the Zen masters who said, "We teach people to work hard, and we should teach people to work happy or work easy." And I just think American culture is kind of awful about that. We do try to work really hard. People overwork themselves and try to work happier, try to work easier. So this material, I've seen it help resolve burnout, overwhelm, fatigue, depression, anxiety. I mean, it's really just incredible. It's kind of like I think about biofeedback this way too. It's kind of like a cure all. And people can argue with me about that if they want, but I don't care. I think it works for everything. I've seen it work across the board. I just gave a public talk last week where every single person on their evaluation at this talk, every single person reported a 50% more or 50% or more reduction in daily stress following the use of these tools. And so it's really incredible and it happens fast.
Fantastic. Well, you used the word anxiety. And anxiety to me is when people are projecting an outcome that may never be there, but that outcome is, in their eyes, negative, etc. There are other people that it sounds to me like on the other side of that, that just say, I'm stuck. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how to move. I don't know what to do. Okay. They're not sitting there nervously fretting, etc. It's just they're like almost a paralysis ensues
Yeah.
where the decision making goes into suspension, the action goes into suspension because there is no direction that has been defined at
Yeah.
all about what to do. Have you experienced people like that? And I mean, is this something that has assisted those people?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the stuck people might be in a habitual freeze response. And I will say that in my experience in my office and with students, freeze is one of the trickiest things to resolve because things are frozen, things are uh, armored in the body. There's tension that's armored in the body or the mind. There's rigidity. There's just an inflexibility. And uh, of course, we work with different people in different ways, and people who are stuck, they have to be able to make themselves do the simple movements. For people who are anxious and have a lot of nervous energy or something like that, I think those people find doing the movements a little bit easier because it helps to discharge some of that energy. But people who are stuck, they really have to practice moving more. They have to practice. And sometimes it happens at a sloth's pace where they just might start with a little bit of equalized breathing or wiggling the toes or paying attention to the time that they feel stuck or they feel heavy or they feel immobilized and really just bringing breath awareness to those moments when you're conscious that you're stuck or immobilized or feeling all of the pressure, the weight of the world, and going slow with it, just kind of looking for that opening and then seizing the moment when you do and moving, moving, moving. It's kind of like getting the gears going after things have been rusted out.
Tell me a little bit more about your experience, if I may, about coping with all of this
Yeah.
including all the responsibilities of working with your mom and assisting your mom. You know,
Yeah.
how have people come to these sessions and has been participating in the sessions been therapeutic for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm working with somebody, I always feel like I get a benefit out of it because I get to see them grow and I get to see how this material works in their system. And for my mom, and in the situation with my mom, I've been teaching her a lot of the visualizations and the metaphors so that she can use her brain power to kind of get her body back online, just using light, using intention, helping her build pathways from the part of her brain that got injured to the left side of her body that no longer moves. And so I would say I'm helping her apply that material to herself personally. And for me, I would say that my own anxiety has spiked since this situation has happened with my mom because um, there are so many unknowns. And I find myself, again, grateful and happy that I have this huge toolbox full of movement, mindfulness, meditation, intentionality, all of these things. And I find myself doing practices sometimes numerous times a day. Definitely once a day when I feel my own anxiety starting to kind of inflame in my chest or my limbs. It kind of goes in my torso where it just starts to feel like things are getting stretched really tight. I'll go outside and I'll do some movement. I'll do some meditation, just standing for a few minutes to discharge some energy and just find my ground. And then I'm able to move in a more optimal way versus kind of putting all of that on hold or taking medication or something like that to try to deal with that problem. I can just deal with it myself. No
Yeah,
side
there we
effects.
go. Yeah, this is, well, no side effects and no no medical dependence.
Nope. Nope. It is just personal application and it's really wonderful. And as we do this material, Bill, you know this, you've experienced it. We have in our system meridians. And as you move your body in these optimally functioning ways, your meridian system becomes more attuned to your awareness and your consciousness. And as you continue moving in these conscious, mindful ways, your meridian system on the inside begins to connect up with these extra meridians in the field of energy that surrounds you. And so it's an inside job that actually has an external effect over time. It's really incredible.
Let's explain a little bit more the word meridian. What are they?
Okay, so
Because
meridians.
when we look down, we don't see geographical longitudinal
No, we
and,
don't.
and
I want to show
horizontal lines on our body.
right. I want to show a picture of the energy man, Alex Gray's energy man. Alex Gray is a famous
Oh,
artist who has
yes. Oh,
painted
yes.
the maple.
Remarkable.
Yes, really
Yeah.
incredible. Look him up right now. So I want to show you a picture of the energy man we have. If you go to acupuncture, most people should be familiar with acupuncture. They're where the points on the body where the needles might go, or if you're using a system of acupressure, you might press on some points on the body that help to bring energy to those places. And
Yeah.
each meridian point then connects through a meridian line to another point. And these points and lines connect throughout the body, through the fingertips, the wrists, the brain, the feet. There are meridians that run throughout the system. And when there are blockages in the meridian system, then we start to have problems. We might feel physical tension, we might feel mental tension, we might feel emotional tension, we might feel existential tension when our meridian system is blocked or stagnant, when our chi energy is stagnant. This is related to chi. And in the system, Hike for Evolution system, we talk about chi, chi
Yep.
righteous, which is more distilled and refined chi. As you do these practices, you begin to refine your chi, and then you begin to develop QI, and
Mhm.
just on and on and on. As you continue to develop your energetic system, your physical system, your chi becomes more and more refined, and it becomes more of a wonderful gasoline to help fuel you in all of your intentions and your hopes and your dreams and your goals.
In some of the interviews I've done with spirit partners, there's been a big emphasis on your breath and where and how you project your breath in order to, quote, open some things up.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'd like you to talk about that, but I'd just like to share that I remember in the very earliest days of working with Lianna, she had me doing these very simple biofeedback things with, you're watching this balloon float over these mountains or else it has to crash into the mountains. And then how are you going to breathe to get the balloon to go over the mountain, etc. And it was enormously instructive as to how gently, absolutely gently, I could manifest my breathing
Yeah.
to get, these little games that where you had to move objects literally by the way the energy was manifesting in your body and how
Yeah.
you just learned to go into a state of
Yeah.
calmness and slow down and barely breathe at all. I mean,
Yeah.
because we're just so used to all this autonomic stuff. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what at whatever
Or
pace that goes, yes, or holding your breath, etc. So
yeah.
it was incredible. The other thing I
Yes.
want to mention that you said a little while ago is that this really helps in body awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, because as soon as you start working with these processes and try to move energy, warm the fingers of each hand separately and do some of these, you know you think of as almost like games.
Yeah.
You become acutely aware of how your body is shaped and what it does and what position you're in, etc. And I realized that one of the things that made learning to ski easy for me and that allowed me to be the good skier that I became is I had incredible body awareness.
Nice.
I knew where my knees were.
Yeah.
I knew where my shoulders were,
Yeah.
etc. And a lot of people, especially beginners, but they come without that kind of awareness,
Yeah.
and it makes the sport like skiing, where leveraging and balance and the slightest little movement, makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Absolutely.
yeah, so it was just incredible how living up there in the mountains and skiing, and
Yeah.
then just going down the road to Liana's house. I mean, what a kind of mutual benefit it was because I was getting to kind of practice these things, you know, in either location, so to speak.
Yeah. And so yes, all that, Bill. And I love that you mentioned biofeedback and the breathing, and you were talking about the heart rate resonance. Like if you can
Yes.
breathe in a certain rhythmic pattern, and then the feedback is then moving that balloon through that imagery on that screen, that gives you that empowerment to know that your breath is actually doing what you're asking it to do, which is to calm you down. And that's what makes feedback, biofeedback or neurofeedback, so incredibly valuable, is that we can actually see outside of us what's going on inside of us. And that kind of accelerates the awareness and consciousness building practices, the consciousness building exercises, because we can see when we are successful with those things. Yes, and I would say that body awareness is absolutely imperative. The body-mind connection is a thing. I'm working with somebody right now who's expansively spiritual, but experiences a lot of anxiety in their body. And they don't want to be present in their body because they really like that spiritual thing.
Oh
But the
my, yes.
body is having a real problem with that. And so we're helping that person sync up their spiritual energy with their physical and emotional and mental energy. This is where the magic happens. Yes, all of that expansiveness is so beautiful and we want to go there. We definitely want to go there, but we want to bring it through this beautiful physical body that we are incarnated in here because this is really where the work is done. This is really where we create world peace right here in the 3D and that kind of esoteric um, uh, transpersonal experience that we have needs to be anchored right here in the physical world.
Well, I'm going to bring up as perhaps a final chapter in this, an ultimate culminating issue, that the big M word, okay, of meditation. Because very often in guided meditations, rather than, the just sitting still and going into nowhere and doing nothing kind of thing, but in guided meditations where you're asked to ground yourself and you're asked to imagine opening up these meridians or channels of energy in your body, or whatever it might be, the more of that kind of practice you can have, the better the meditator you will be in that other regard.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, because it just sharpens that sensibility and perception that you
yeah,
need to have. And you start paying attention to parts of your body that you
yeah,
never think about whatsoever.
yeah,
Okay. And begin to feel how energy moves there and how it can open up tension and stuff in places. And I mean, it can, if you want to get crazy about it, I mean, you could open up the energy going to individual cells. I mean, just as a practice,
absolutely.
right? Which gives you enormous flexibility and dexterity and versatility mentally.
It's
Okay.
so true. Absolutely. I want to just say one more thing about
Sure.
somebody that I worked with in doing
Yes.
biofeedback and
Okay.
neurofeedback. They had an insight, they had a breakthrough in one of the neurofeedback sessions. And when we were talking following that, they said, this would have never happened in traditional talk therapy. And I said, you're right. It wouldn't
Oh,
have because you were down in that kind of nebulous subconscious and unconscious environment. And sometimes not that person, but what you were describing is we notice this tension in our body and we go there and we give it attention. And pretty soon we have an insight like, oh my gosh, that is from this time in my life. Holy moly, I've been holding that in my body ever since. And so that is one of the values of having that skill of being able to go within and track and be aware of what's happening on the physical level.
you have hit the nail on the head of what I call hits. That is, these intuitive flashes of awareness that come to us,
Yep.
that if we pay attention to them, okay, can start to unravel or bring awareness to the issues we're trying to deal with, anyway, even the inner growth issues that we're grappling with. It's like it's a new awareness. It's like, oh my gosh, it could be this. Oh my gosh, it could be that. I've had so many of those in my life, and this work has just helped open that capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, just and it, I mean, what we're really saying here, I think I need to be a slightly more articulate about it, is it's opening up your capacity to feel and sense your intuition, to
Yeah.
letting those subconscious, do we call them interdimensional aspects of ourselves, allowing them, okay, to penetrate.
Yeah.
Okay, what people talk about, Lianna was always talking about the monkey mind. Okay, the mind that's just chattering and chattering and chattering. Well, all of this work just slows that down so finally something else can get through.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, that aspect of it, okay, is
It's
it's just invaluable. It's
it
just invaluable.
it's so true, Bill. And the last thing I want to say about that is the meditations, the symbols, the images, the practices that we use are a banana that you give to your monkey mind to focus on so that it will sit down and be quiet.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Oh,
Because
that
a
is
lot of
so
people are
funny.
like, I can't do that. It's so busy. I'm like, okay, do this. Axis cat's three legs. Focus on that. Axis cat's three legs. Build that muscle. Build that muscle. That's the banana so that the monkey mind becomes a pet. And you can say, I need information, and it'll go get it for you from the collective or wherever it goes.
Yep.
But it needs to be at the orchestra director's direction, not just at its own, like, ooh, I'm going over, I'm going doing whatever I want.
Oh my gosh, you said more magic words. Let's pick orchestra director words up next time,
Yes.
okay? And really start to show and give examples of the kind of director you can be, because
Yes.
because this work gives you all kinds of practices and opportunities to really direct things in all kinds of unusual and weird ways. And boy, what can open? What can open is absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, it's so true.
So
It's so true, Bill.
I'll be happy to share a couple of those what can open
Yeah,
uh,
wonderful. I look forward to
next
hearing.
next time. Okay. Well, thank you, and audience, thank you. I hope you have found this as engaging and valuable as I have. It certainly brings back important ideas and thoughts for me, but what I've been attempting to share here is the connection to other aspects of what people call spiritual growth, inner growth, higher consciousness, etc. This is absolutely fundamental to and empowers all of those kinds of things, and has physiological benefits too. Okay, can even make you a better skier if you pay attention. So
True.
anyway, thank you, and we'll see you next time with Allison. Alistair. Allison is not her name. It's Alistair. Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you so
Oh,
much.
oh, thank you. See you next time, folks.